South Africa was once a symbol of hope, a nation that defied its past to inspire the world. A land full of potential seemed destined for greatness. Rich in resources, culture, and ambition, it had every ingredient for global success. But today, that promise feels squandered. Why? How does a nation brimming with possibility lose its way? In this video, we'll uncover how South Africa's incredible potential has been wasted, and why understanding this journey matters. Not just for South Africans, but for anyone intrigued by how nations rise and fall. Can South Africa still turn things around? Today, South Africa faces some of its most alarming challenges yet. Corruption has drained billions from public funds, crippling essential services. Unemployment is a ticking time bomb, with youth unemployment exceeding 60%, leaving millions without jobs or hope. The crime rates are shocking. With over 20,000 murders annually, South Africa has one of the highest murder rates in the world, and infrastructure is in decay, with the country experiencing an electricity and water crisis. This all creates a vicious cycle. Poverty rises, businesses hesitate to invest, and communities feel increasingly unsafe. But here's the kicker. These issues don't just hurt the economy. They fundamentally change how people live, work, and dream. The situation is dire, and the urgency to act cannot be overstated. But South Africa wasn't always like this. Let's rewind to 1994, a time when South Africa's future felt limitless. South Africa broke free from the chains of apartheid and stepped into a new era of democracy with hope and optimism. The first democratic elections brought Nelson Mandela to power, a symbol of unity and change. For many, South Africa represented the promise of Africa, a nation overcoming a painful colonial and racist past, while embracing a future of equality and opportunity. The Reconstruction and Development Program delivered housing, electricity, and clean water to millions. Economic policies doubled the growth rate, global investments flowed in, and industries thrived. Between 1994 and 2000, 1.75 million homes were connected to electricity, and nearly 5 million people gained access to clean water. Economic policies like the growth, employment, and redistribution strategy brought early success. South Africa doubled its growth rate during the late 1990s compared to the final years of apartheid. The country also reintegrated into the global market, attracting foreign investments that boosted industries and created jobs. South Africa's natural wealth became a huge driver of the economy. Its vast reserves of gold, platinum, and diamonds shaped its economy and cemented its place as a global player in the mining industry. By the late 1990s, mining accounted for 20% of the nation's GDP and employed hundreds of thousands, creating opportunities for many who had been excluded from the workforce during apartheid. Platinum, in particular, gave South Africa a unique edge as the country supplied over 70% of the global demand, cementing its dominance in the sector. South Africa's strategic location allowed the country to become a key trade hub for the continent and the rest of the world. Its ports, such as Durban and Cape Town, connected Africa's vast resources to global markets, while its growing infrastructure promised to enhance trade routes and drive economic integration across the region. Beyond its minerals, South Africa became known for its agricultural exports. Its wine industry gained international acclaim, exporting millions of liters annually, and positioning the country as one of the world's top wine producers. At the same time, the country's breathtaking landscapes, rich biodiversity, and cultural heritage made it a magnet for visitors. Iconic destinations like Table Mountain, the sprawling savannas of Kruger National Park, and the Drakensberg Mountains drew millions of tourists annually. For a time, the country symbolized the promise of Africa, a land of abundant resources, innovation, and opportunity. With the right leadership and focus, South Africa had the foundation to become an economic powerhouse, not just in Africa, but globally. But this dream soon began to unravel. During the mid-2000s, corruption and mismanagement seeped into South Africa's institutions. Under Jacob Zuma's presidency, state capture became a household term. State capture cost South Africa over $35 billion. That's money that could have built schools, created jobs, or fixed roads. Instead, it lined the pockets of the corrupt officials with private entities. Take Eskom, the state-owned power utility. Years of neglect and corruption left the company unable to maintain its aging infrastructure or expand capacity. Corruption siphoned off funds meant for maintenance and upgrades. Mismanagement worsened the problem, as unqualified individuals, often appointed through nepotism or cronyism, were put in charge of critical operations. This resulted in rolling blackouts becoming the norm. Businesses, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, have been hit hardest, with many forced to shut down due to the unreliable power supply. Ports, railways, and water systems that once fueled growth are now crumbling. Corruption drained resources meant for modernizing rail and port systems, while operational inefficiencies, rooted in poor leadership and bureaucratic red tape, disrupted the transport of goods. For example, coal exports, a critical revenue stream for South Africa, were hampered by delays and logistical breakdowns. This not only led to billions in losses for the economy, but also undermined investor confidence. And yet, the story of South Africa's decline isn't just about what's broken. It's about what's been allowed to stay broken. The consequences of corruption and mismanagement have only deepened South Africa's struggles. The unemployment crisis, particularly among youth, is a ticking time bomb. A lack of investment in education and vocational training, worsened by misappropriation of public funds, has left millions without the skills needed to enter the workforce. Each failure deepened the nation's crisis, trapping South Africa in a vicious cycle of economic and social decline. So how do South Africans feel about all of this? To put it shortly, South Africa has seen a rise in social unrest. All over the country, protests have erupted over issues like service delivery, housing, and education. In 2021, South Africa witnessed some of the worst riots in decades, resulting in widespread looting and billions in damages. These events highlight the growing frustration among citizens who feel abandoned by their leaders. But it's not all doom and gloom. South Africa has the tools to turn this around. Here are 5 keys to revival. M1. Fighting corruption. Initiatives like corruption inquiries and the Special Investigating Unit have begun recovering stolen funds and holding officials accountable. 2. Job creation and education. By investing in skills training, renewable energy, and technology, South Africa can unlock its young population's potential. Supporting small and medium enterprises could also create sustainable jobs. 3. Infrastructure reform. Upgrading logistics networks, diversifying energy production, and addressing water infrastructure issues can revitalize the economy and improve living standards. 4th, social protection and stability. Targeted poverty reduction programs and stronger law enforcement can stabilize communities and foster growth. 5. Leadership and governance. The key to success lies in bold, honest leadership that prioritizes systemic reform and collective action. Therefore, South Africa's path to recovery is within reach. But will these solutions work fast enough to reverse decades of damage? South Africa's future hangs in the balance. Its natural resources, young population, and strategic position offer a unique edge. But without decisive action, the nation risks losing this opportunity forever. Therefore, the question remains, will South Africa seize its chance to rebuild, or will it let its potential slip away? Subscribe to stay informed as we dive deeper into this story.